If you are looking to learn more about journaling, this video is for you. I'll be talking about the supplies I like to use and the way I personally like to journal. And that may or may not work for you, but it works for me. So in this video, I'm using a journal from Peter Pauper Press that I believe I bought on Amazon. It's a dotted notebook, which I really love to use for journaling. I also like to use old pages from books I found at the thrift store or scrapbook pages. I also collect notes and cards from friends to paste in my journal and keep safe for later. You can also use pressed flowers or leaves. For calligraphy, I recommend the Tombow dual brush pens. They're very lovely. And I also like to collect pictures that I find that I can stick into my journal. Finding or writing prompts and saving those to put into your journal when you are just kind of a bit dry on creativity that day is a really good way to spark creativity and get you thinking. These are all of my stickers. I have so many stickers and I love collecting these and using them in my journal. And then of course there's also washi tape, which is fun to use. And then of course I have all of my stickers from my shop that I can use as well. That's pretty much it for the supplies I use. Now it's time to actually get into how I go about journaling. For me, journaling is about self-expression and self-reflection. I really like to kind of analyze where I'm at, what my emotional state is, and record the things that have happened to me that I want to remember later. But journaling also has a big aesthetic component for me, and I really love making my pages look pretty. That draws me back to it and keeps me inspired to continue journaling. So I always like to start by sitting down and just having fun on the page. The first thing I always do is I write the date so that, I know when I wrote this page. And I like to do it in messy calligraphy because I'm still learning. Then I go and choose all of the stationery that I'm going to use in that spread. And I usually like to figure out what supplies I'll use based off of sort of a color palette and sometimes like a theme. So for this spread, I decided that I wanted my main colors to be purple and gray. And I wanted kind of a more vintagey, elegant aesthetic. So I'm starting off with just some little sort of sticky notes that I'm gluing on just to add a bit of color to the back of my page. And I'm just gonna keep building up and layering, starting with sort of the more basic, bigger pieces and adding smaller, more detailed pieces on top as I go. I don't put too much thought into this. I just try and relax into it and be intuitive and expressive and creative, and honestly just have as much fun as I can, because this part you don't want to think too much. You just want to get into flow and have a moment of freedom and self-expression and creativity. I find this part really satisfying and relaxing and love just seeing it all come together as I just kind of play around with the page. Now, even though I'm not usually thinking about it, I often find that the kind of spread that I make on the page often reflects kind of my state of mind and how I'm feeling in that moment. Here, for instance, I was feeling really calm and just wanting to sink into serenity, and the purple and gray are really soothing, cool tones that I find really relaxing and calming, and this whole aesthetic just really suited my mood in that moment. So I find that taking this time to play with the aesthetics of the page is actually a really useful exercise in getting me in the mood for self-reflection and getting me in the mood to really think about where I am emotionally and mentally and all of that. So even though it's not necessary by any means to make the page look pretty, it really helps me to have a more satisfying journaling experience. So now let's get into the actual journaling. I like to start off by writing, today was a ... and fill in the blanks. Just finding a quick one sentence that I can use to describe how my day went and how I'm feeling. Then I just start writing. I write about anything and often everything. In this spread, I'm just recording a few thoughts about the recent vacation I took and sort of checking in about some major events that have been going on in my life today. Really just keeping it pretty general today because I don't have time to go into a lot of specifics. So I'm jotting down some memories that I want to record and I want to never forget, like stargazing with my nieces on Prince Edward Island. That was a really special moment for me, and it's something that I hope I can come back to when I look back on my journal in the future. I also like to often use my journal to talk about my feelings and just the emotional turmoil or the joy or whatever it is that I'm going through and I'm feeling in a day. It's almost like sitting down and talking to a good friend, but you don't have to have any filter at all, which makes it just a little bit easier to talk about things that might be complicated or difficult. I find that this process has really helped me to become more aware of my emotional state, which isn't something I'm always as in tune with as I should be. And it also helps me really practice more gratitude, especially if I take time to make a little section, which I often do, where I'll just make a list of things that I'm really grateful for, and things that have just made my day. And one of the really wonderful things about keeping a journal is that you can look back on days that maybe weren't so great and you can say, oh yeah, I remember feeling that way, but I also remember not feeling that way and getting through those hard times, and how, greater things are just around the corner. So it really helps me to have more perspective on my life and just get through difficult times and grow more as a person and learn more from the things that I've been through. So here I've finished up my page, I've signed my name at the bottom, which I always do, and I'm just adding some quick little doodles just to make the page a little more lived in. This is, of course, unnecessary, but fun. So, here we go. And that's it. That's my whole spread. And that's my journaling process. It is incredibly simple, and personally, that's how I think journaling should be. But everyone has their own system and a way that works for them best. And I hope that seeing my way has maybe inspired you to explore how you can make the most of journaling and get the most from it. Well, that is all I have for today. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope that you have a lovely rest of the day. Take care for now. Bye.